I got an email this morning from ProWritingAid saying that they had something that could do my plot structure for me. So that's pretty interesting, and I decided that I would spend $25 to buy a credit to test this out. So this video is officially worth $25. Of course I'm kidding, but well, I'm not. I did spend the money, but the main reason I'm doing this is because I made a video about the usage of AI and writing authentically. And basically my whole thing is that I want to compare what it is to plot your own story yourself compared to if you just asked a robot to do it. And I'm going to show you the video. You can make your own assumptions. You can do it how you want. It is an interesting tool, but I do think for this, just going in, like if there's one takeaway from this video, it's that if you're going to use something like this, I think it's in your best benefit to have already done the work. And I think you have to be really, really careful when you're using AI that you don't start offloading your cognitive ability to do whatever task you're trying to do and to offload that to the robot, because you will eventually, I don't want to say you will not be able to do it, you'll lose the ability to do something, but you're not, our brain is basically like a powerhouse muscle on steroids that can, like, quantum computer, whatever you want to call it, that can just like do so much. And I feel if you offload that, it's like that part of the muscle isn't going to work anymore. And that's what scares me. And you'll see in the video, because I've already recorded it. And that's the thing that kind of scares me about this. And in the video, I even talk about transparency and stuff, because I have tested AI things, because I believe, as I say in the video, to be critical of something, you have to understand both sides. I'm really not the type of person who wants to just criticize something without at least dipping my toes in the water to see what the water is like. And I really, really, really think that we have to be careful. And I'm extremely, extremely afraid for the young generations that aren't gonna like use those muscles for critical thinking and things like that. But that's not what today's video is about. But there's this overwhelming like thought of, while I'm making this video, that's all I can think about is, are we doing ourselves a disservice? Are we potentially harming our own brain? You know, because there's nothing more authentic than humans making mistakes. So that being said, let's get straight into the video on rating ProWritingAid's new plot summary function device. I don't know what we call it. Technically, this uses AI, so I'm kind of contradicting myself in this video of saying I will never use AI, because I'm about to test it out and I want to compare the two, because once again, I know I'm repeating myself. I believe in clarity. I believe in testing stuff and figuring out what works for you. I don't like AI, not because it's stealing, because that's, yeah, of course that's bad, but I don't like AI because it has taken away the one thing that I'm good at, which is creativity. And yeah, I'm not some like great writer or anything like that, but it's something I'm trying to be great at. And the only way for me to become great is by making a lot of mistakes and figuring out how to detect those mistakes. That said, I'm very iffy about this, because my billboard here, I've spent a lot of time figuring out how to do that. And that took me like a full day to do that. It seems like nothing, but it was a lot of work. So I feel like now to just click a button and basically in 3 seconds, or within minutes, they say, it does scare me a little bit, because I felt like I learned a shit ton doing that. I learned about the 3-arc structure. I learned about the ups, the downs, the pacing, the stuff like that. It's stuff I had to push my brain to figure out. And I feel like taking a full day to just do that, I know for a fact I learned a lot. But, you know, I like to test stuff. I'm a failed tech YouTuber, so it's my best interest to try some of this stuff. All right, so I've got my manuscript here. It's 135,000 words, and if you want to run this function from ProWritingAid, you go on your ProWritingAid side here. And of course, I'm doing this in Scrivener, but it should be the same throughout different apps. And basically, I'm going to go into the critique function here, and I click on this. And now I have chapter critique, plot analysis, manuscript, blah, 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 blah. The first thing I'm going to show you is that you do have a feedback history. So I did mine yesterday. I'm filming this over 2 days, but let's say it was your first time. You would simply click here and let's just give it some time. There's a little video you can watch if you want. Basically, you need credits. You would click here and it takes about 4 to 5 minutes. Now, as I said, I've already done mine, so I can just click here and it opens it up. You can expand and then even put it into a full screen. So as I said in the intro of the video, you basically get a graph here that shows the different parts of your manuscript. And basically, I'm just going to go through a couple of these. I'm not going to do them all because if not, the whole video would be like 3 hours long or something. But basically, it's going to give you the strongest beats from your manuscript, or from that point, whether it's high or low, and then it's going to give you the weakest one. So for example, like so this is a sealed one. So it's saying that it has a minor concern. So basically, it's going to tell you where in the text it is. It's going to give you a brief description of like, what is this scene about, or this plot point. And then it gives you something like you can see here, things to consider. So right here, it's already asking me questions like, how does the Grimoire's mystery connect to the family's broader history? And some of these questions do make sense, but some of them don't quite. It's as if because it's AI, it's not understanding certain things that like us as the reader, we understand, but the characters in the story don't understand. So there's a little of inconsistencies like that. And I'll say it later on in the video. Like, I think this has value if you've already done a very big plot-in of your story. I don't think anyone starts off and writes a story and does 0 plot-in. So of course this is going to help you, but I think it's really important that you put in the time to really plot out your story and really think about the emotional beats and everything. And then you run something like this. So the first thing that I find interesting about this when you open it is it's going to give you, where I have highlighted here, a little description of your story, almost kind of like not an elevator pitch, but kind of like what your story is about. And I've already written this a couple of times. I have like different, like I'll have one where it's like long, short, and then like a 1 sentence of what my story is about. But I want to take the time and read this because it's kind of interesting how precise it was. And it makes sense. It's AI. It's going to read the whole thing. But I'm very, very impressed by this. So here we go. The manuscript is a substantial, structurally complete first arc of a dark fantasy novel. It follows the linear timeline of a single protagonist, Lubius, from his quiet life in a remote mountain city to his violent induction into the world of elite battle mages at Glassthorn Academy. The story blends a coming-of-age and academy fantasy elements as Lubius grapples with the family's secrets, ancient bloodlines, and the brutal realities of power. That's actually really, really precise. Like it's interesting because the version that AI did summarized my book better than I was capable of doing, which makes sense because I've never written a summary of my book. So already there, it's like, it goes back into the thing of like, oh, am I just going to not learn how to write a good description of my own book? Now, also, I wouldn't just copy paste this, but this is a very, very well thought out version of my book. So already that's a little bit freaky. All right, so after the summary of the story, you can go here and what you'll see is the tension analysis. So what's really interesting here is that it's going to give you a brief description of what you're doing good and what you're not doing good. So I'm going to read this real fast for you guys, just so you can see what it's saying. The tension curve is ambitious and largely effective for an action-oriented fantasy arc. It establishes high-stake problems very early with the inciting incident and maintains that pressure through the key decisions. The rising action provides a necessary dip, and the protagonist learns the rules of the new world. But the tension climbs steadily again towards a powerful series of high-tension beats from the midpoint to the climax. The final drop provides resolution for the current arc while effectively setting up the stakes for the next one. So that is a nice little summary. I would say it's pretty precise. Alright, so before I continue the video, I just want to take a quick moment and ask you if you want to help this channel and my writing journey. The best thing you can do would be to click on the link I'm going to put in the description, which brings you to my website, and you can add yourself to my mail-in list. Now, I'm going to make a promise not to spam you guys with a lot of emails. In fact, I'm going to almost send no emails whatsoever. This isn't a newsletter. This isn't a, something. It's just so that as updates come and I potentially look for beta readers and I potentially, other things like that, I have people I can reach out to. So if you want, obviously subscribe to the channel. You can all that stuff is of course going to help the more I can spread this and stuff. But the number one thing you can do is add yourself to that mail-in list. Let's get back to the video. And now we're going to look at the next section of the plot analysis. Climax, the Obsidian Flame. The entire tournament sequence is a masterclass in escalation tension. Okay, it's not a masterclass. You're making me blush. This is extremely embarrassing to be doing this on camera. Okay, I'm smiling because, yeah, of course it's making me feel good, but this reaction I'm having right now is exactly why AI scares me. A masterclass. Dude, I've been writing for a year and a half. I don't know how to do a masterclass. Are you just giving me a tap on the back? I feel like this is completely ridiculous. I'm gonna take the win because it feels good, but come on, a masterclass? Come on now. That's literally ridiculous. But hey, masterclass Ollie over here making some masterclass arcs in his book. It's completely ridiculous. It weaves together personal rivalries, magical combat, and moral compromise, culminating a high-stakes, irreversible choice that pays off every setup. I really feel like this thing is literally just chicking me off. This is completely ridiculous. The weakest beat. A rise in action. Glassthorn's Trials. I don't even know what part of the book this is, but anyways, this is not a weak beat in function. Okay, so they're doing the sandwich thing for criteria, but its execution is so rapid that it feels more like a summary of events than a lived experience. The sheer volume of plot points from the worm fight to the first few months at the academy is overwhelming and prevents individuals' moments from landing with their full weight. This actually makes sense because this is the part that I kind of haven't completely finished writing, that I am currently rewriting and adding scenes. So I bought 3 credits because I know that I'm going to have to redo this, but that actually makes sense. So I'm going to stop the video here because I don't want it to be super long. But in conclusion, I do think there is value in this, but as I said before in the video, you have to have done your plotting at a extremely professional level. You have to have put the work in for this to be worth anything. If you just write a book without thinking of your plot and then you do this, I think you're going to be overwhelmed with how many points it's trying to figure out. So was it worth $25? I wouldn't personally pay that, but where they're able to sell this service and make it worth it for you is the fact that most people don't want to send their manuscript off for a couple of weeks to a month to have someone read it and someone give them this kind of feedback. So because of that one point, being able to get within 4 minutes some pretty good feedback on your plot, it actually is a good function. Where I'm not sure that this is smart is you probably could just use ChatGPT or Claude, stick your full manuscript into it and ask them for a plot analyst. ChatGPT and Claude or whatever would have your full manuscript. And I don't personally am convinced that they don't keep the information. So ProWritingAid gives you an alternative that hopefully is safe and everything. So I'd be curious to know what you guys think of this. Would you use this? Would you pay $25? That's not a small sum. If you're not a Pro member, you're paying $50. That's a lot of money. I'm not convinced most people are going to pay that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun for me, and I did, just to be completely transparent, I did get value out of this. This wasn't a waste of money. I wouldn't necessarily do again, but I definitely have some stuff to think about. And remember, they're doing this for, you know, the pros and the cons. They're doing that for every single beat in your story. So I have a lot of work ahead to kind of read through this. But once again, I have very strong concerns about using AI for doing this work, because yeah, it's efficient. Yes, it's helpful, but we're offloading our cognitivity to a robot. That's a choice for you to make.